Welcome back to another episode of ILA on Air, where we make the complicated simple. We are bringing you short, sharp property finance education from industry experts. So go grab your cuppa and we're going to bring you up to speed. I'm Anastasia. I'm the CEO and co-founder of ILA, the UK's only law firm specialising exclusively in property finance ILA. And today I am joined by Mark Jones of Jones and Young. They're mortgage brokers for the self-employed. So, hi Mark, how are you?
Hello, good, thank you.
Good. And I think you're talking to us today about a topic that a lot of brokers are going to find particularly interesting, as well as the clients, the end user who's receiving this service, is brokers, why we don't or can't sell anymore. What do you mean by this? Hit me up.
Yes, it's a funny one, isn't it? So when I first started in mortgages, it was all about the sale, close the deal, get that over the line, make money, blah, blah, blah. Now, I think the end user, the client, is a completely different person. So we don't want to be sold to as people anymore. We're happy to hang up on people. We're happy to tell people we don't want their services. We're happy to be more abrupt than what we probably used to be. So that makes it a lot more difficult for us as advisors to sell. And quite frankly, you shouldn't be selling as an advisor anymore because you're an advisor. So I don't call myself a salesman. I call myself an advisor. So really, we should be advising anyway to get the client the best deal for them. That's sort of where I am. Do you know, I was told so when I first started mortgages, how shit this country is, that our pensions and our mortgages are sold to us by salesmen. The two most important things in our lives are sold to us because at the end of the day, if I don't sell a mortgage or advise on a mortgage, I don't get paid.
Do you think, though, when it comes to selling, do you think it depends on what our idea of selling is? So I think someone upselling something could be like, oh, why is this good for you? Or do you think that's then advising?
Yeah, I think it depends where you are, doesn't it? It depends on your client. So
Right.
if you're an experienced developer, well, you don't need to be upsold a solicitor because you've done multiple deals and you know your solicitor and you know who you're going to get this over the line. So then you are just selling, aren't you? Because you're just trying to get an extra 250 quid on your broker fee or on your proc fee just to sell a solicitor that actually your developer doesn't need, and it's probably going to put him in a worse situation or her in a worse situation. So actually that would then be selling rather than advising because it's probably not the right thing to do. But if you had a first-time buyer that has absolutely no connections, then that's a completely different story because giving them a solicitor actually gets them off their arse, gets them talking and gets them getting the information they need. So that's where I think we as advisors need to start taking note of not everyone wants a shitty 250 quid solicitor.
We were talking about this earlier.
We were.
And it's such a hot topic. I mean, we could probably divulge completely into this, but we won't. But this is,
Right.
I need you back to talk about this subject because obviously I have my opinions on it too. Okay, so we think this is better for the client to be
Yeah.
advised, okay?
Yeah.
But from your experience and time in the industry, what have you seen change in terms of how you used to approach them? So you mentioned to me earlier that how before you never even got emails from people to have an inquiry, and now what, you're getting emails? And
So if you think when I first started, I'm fucking old actually. It was, what was it? You had a landline, a mobile number and an email. Now you've got WhatsApp. You've got multiple channels. If you wanted to now, we used to chase clients 2-3 times a day. If I wanted to, I could do that on literally one WhatsApp message, an email and a phone call, leave a voicemail. My voicemails now come through as text messages. So I've gone back to leaving voicemails again because they're going to be listened to or at least seen. You could, like I said earlier, you could literally get to the point, you could stalk your client if you wanted to.
So many avenues,
literally.
Instagram,
Yeah,
Facebook,
you could go on Instagram,
LinkedIn.
Find out if they were in that meeting or not.
Yeah.
Do
There's
you know what I
so
mean?
much.
It's mental. And then now there's certain people, because we're in that type of environment where they call a fucking police. Do you know what I mean? Literally. You just be like, mate, what are you doing to me?
Yeah.
So us as an office, we don't chase. We very little chase now. If you want us, you're going to come back to us because we live in an environment where we've got all the information.
Yeah.
So actually now, if someone is ignoring you, it's generally because they are ghosting you because they don't need your services. Right. So where before we would keep
Pound
going.
them.
Oh, we'd keep going, wouldn't we? We would go for a week, 10 days, 2-3 calls a day. That's, think about now, this is we're chatting, that's actually quite mental. But we'd have a sales manager behind us, encouraging us, right, where'd you chase a, we get a chaser lead in the morning, right, you need to get those chasers in, right, 2-3 times, completely different environment now. I think you'd lose customers.
Exactly. I think what you're saying here is back in the day when you do that, was that kind of, not like, acceptable. Well, it was acceptable, right?
think
The
it was
clients
acceptable.
didn't care about that, or they
No.
wanted you to do that. Maybe, I don't know. And
I
has it
think
changed
society
now?
didn't allow
Right.
you to moan, maybe. Where
Right,
now
okay.
you're very easy, aren't you?
Yeah.
You could whack a post on LinkedIn and go, Mark Jones, stop chasing me.
Yeah,
I
leave me
don't
alone,
need you.
leave me
Yeah,
alone.
leave
Stop.
me. I can see you've looked at my profile 4 times today. Like, fuck off. Where we would never do that. But that would, you could technically do that now. I think we live in a lot more open world, don't we?
Yeah.
So that, I suppose, society has changed in that way. I think we're happy to moan now.
Yeah.
Or, do you know as well? I always think as well for us, and when I'm sort of speaking to our younger advisors in the office, don't become that double glazing salesman, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. You're so right.
Yeah.
It is cringe. Yeah,
It is. Yeah, and that's half the reason why we don't do solicitor referrals now.
Yeah,
because we don't want to be right. We've done your mortgage. Right now, let's protect it. Right now, let's get you a
Does
solicitor.
it feel disingenuous?
I
or
think
a little
so.
bit.
Yeah. They just become a sale, don't it? It literally just becomes a sale.
I think you're right that people are more aware. So whether or not like through education online, they're aware, we're aware of being sold to. So even when we're launching some new campaigns, we've got some outreach campaigns going on, and like the little parts at the start, maybe talking about like, like, hey, and there's certain tones that I was like, no, don't speak. I just know you're ready. I know whether you're trying to be genuine, but it's a sales thing.
Yeah.
And I'm just not interested. And
Yeah,
I think we've
100%.
so got our guard up to that. But maybe also it's because there is so much automation and AI and things that are allowing kind of automated sales to happen. So everyone's kind of got the ick of it and they don't want it.
Yeah, I think that's it, because it comes at us in so many different formats, doesn't it? So it's not, I suppose, exactly what you're saying. It's not just that guy chasing you on the phone now.
Yeah.
It's actually that email, that bot.
Yeah.
That...
Instagram outreach, all of it.
It's all going, isn't it? And then I suppose then you get into targeted ads at the same time then on your social feeds.
Yeah.
So you're literally like, oh my God, I just called the guy for a quick question.
Yeah.
And now like,
That's
look
it.
what's happened. I
I know what you mean. You inquire about something. I know exactly what you mean. It just tickled me because you inquire about something and then you're like, oh my God, they keep calling me, emailing me. And you're like, I didn't subscribe to all this. And then like their parent company calls me and I'm like, no, this is not what I wanted. You're right. It's so right. Yeah.
And then you're like, I just wanted that one simple question.
Yeah.
And and sometimes when that call does come in, I won't even put them in our CRM system because it was just one simple question. If you've left them with a good enough impression, they're going to call back.
Yeah.
And if you haven't left them with a good enough impression that they can't remember who they spoke to, well, you didn't do your job really, did you? Because you had them for 5 minutes and that was it. So I think regulation doesn't help as well. I think regulation takes away from that, like you say, that person being authentic in themselves. And then the big brokers, I think that where it's very much scripted, it becomes a very much a sanitized sale. I think that then doesn't help. For me, my advice is to go back to sort of the advice. I give much better advice now I'm in my own company.
Yeah.
Now I'm not worried about what my sales manager's going to say, what this person says, what that person says. So I think that helps and when you're in a calmer environment. But one of the best things I love actually when I'm in the office and I'm listening to the guys on the phone is when they say to someone, you don't need our help.
Yeah.
Actually, you're in a good situation. You don't need our help.
That would never have happened 4 years ago.
No, you get told off.
Yeah.
You would literally be like, mate, you've just lost company money
Yeah.
and I pay you. Why have you just done that?
Yeah.
Where now I look at that and I think, brilliant. That shows that we're an advice-led company.
Yeah.
Because you're actually to go, do you know, you don't need us. What's the point?
Yeah.
Right? Just do this.
Yeah.
Done.
And you're right. When you have that initial phone call, this is probably where... Because people will be listening to this, no doubt, being like, no, we do have to sell. And it's like, no one's saying we don't sell ourselves and market ourselves, selling what we do online. But we're talking really about this direct initial conversation or the follow-up conversations.
Yeah.
And I think what I'm also hearing you say is that if we give really fantastic advice on that initial call, that's enough also usually for them to then want to come back because they can't go and do it themselves. I say this about the legal industry as well. A lot of lawyers will gatekeep information on the phone. The person ain't going to go do their own conveyancing because they can't, or they're not going to go file their own court claim. Yes, you can do that, but usually, you're in a situation where they're coming to you for the knowledge. So when you give a lot of advice over the phone in the initial call, they're more thinking, that was really helpful and I'm going to come back, as opposed to, I'm going to do it myself. Because 9 times out of 10, they can't.
For us, it's a big thing about where that inquiries come from.
Right.
Because as well, the way we look at it, we do very little on Google Ads. Yeah. Because if you've gone onto Google and put, find me a broker, well, you're just ringing I don't know what would pick your choice there, but you're probably going to ring 2 or 3. Yeah. And then that's not going to, I don't know, for us, what we want in our client is somebody that's gone on social media, knows us, watched our videos, understands what we're trying to create as a company, understands where we can help you. So theoretically, the sale has already taken place through the marketing before they've even picked up. So all they're doing is qualifying me to go, oh yeah, he's a good guy. Oh yeah, he knows what he's talking about. Wicked. Let's use this company. And then that cuts out that race to the bottom of sales. And that it becomes more of an informative conversation then, because the person's already gone, yeah.
I've been sold to maybe in the early on in the transaction. I think that would actually be a really helpful topic to then touch on. So what would you say then if people are like, okay, well, I don't get this. If I'm not selling on the phone, I'm not hounding them up afterwards. Like we said, we're not saying we don't sell. When in your transaction are you doing your selling? Do you post online? And if you do, where are you posting?
So
if you explain to us what you do, that'd be great.
Yeah, so on our socials, you can follow me on social media and not need me.
Yeah.
Because that's all our content is. I'm not the guy that takes a dog for a walk, takes a snap in the park and goes, oh, look at Dave, my dog, or whatever.
Well, I love dogs.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I like dogs. I don't even have a dog. But I always fancy one with and his name would be Dave. I mean, I just when you're in the park and they're like, Dave, Ray.
What was that one? Fenton.
That's it, yeah. And like Keith I've heard recently. I just think that's wicked. Yeah. I just think brilliant. It's like they're calling a kid back or something.
I thought more of an old person. But either way, I love that.
Maybe not too well with Keith. So our content is all informational. So you're going to follow us. You're going to know you can get a mortgage with 1 year's trade-in. Yeah. You're going to know what type of finance you're after. You know, especially like developers. Are they after a bridging loan? Is development finance? What type of like mortgage do they even need? Mm-hmm. So you would follow us, know exactly what you need, and then you would make that decision. Do you know what? Actually, I could just go and do this now if I wanted to. Or I'm not confident. I don't feel comfortable doing that. Cool. We're then going to bring up the phone, ring Jones and Young. That's how we like to operate. It can come across, I suppose, quite arrogant at times because we're telling you what you need to do, I suppose, and stuff like that. But yeah, it's really informative. That's the way we go.
Educational content is the content you would be pushing out as opposed to necessarily like, we can get this product at X rate. You wouldn't necessarily push that out. It's more like I'm going to help the self-employed or developers to understand what they need to have in line before they come along and all this type of stuff to build up that trust in the background.
100%. So if you take a contractor, we would explain to them how the lender's going to view their contractor income.
Okay.
So are they going to look at the limited company's salary and dividends, or are they actually going to look at the day rate in the contract? What's the best thing to you? Is the best thing tax-wise? You know, we're taking in a lot more than just the mortgage. If it's a contract, you're looking at how they're going to be tax efficient and all those bits. So yeah, that's it. And they would know that we're going to go and look into that from our videos. They would know, right, where's my tax efficiency? How am I getting this mortgage? What's the implications of it? All from our videos.
Yeah, and that's on... Instagram, I think I saw on your LinkedIn, you're pushing out regularly posts of information as well.
Yeah. And you know, it's funny, isn't it? Because it's boring, isn't it? Mortgages are boring.
I feel that way about ILAs. It's so boring. People are like, what do you do for content? This now, podcast. Because I'm fresh out of ideas how to make it interesting.
Exactly that, yeah. And then you just sit there, don't you? Oh, my phone's going now as well, sorry.
That's all right.
Definitely my phone.
We'll give it a stop. We don't have to pause the video. You're just going to do a quick, don't advertise using your phone in podcast meetings.
Should we put that on zero, on silent? Right, there we go. Fuckers.
I'm not calling them back to sell to them. They've ruined everything.
That's it, yeah. And you know, as well, that's the funny thing, is it? We give our mobile number out more as well, I suppose.
Okay.
Where it'd always be on the landline back in the day. I'd never give my mobile number out.
I guess people are more used to like, do you find as well, actually, in terms of talking about the sales.
We're going to gloss over the phone, aren't we?
Well, no, I think it's going to be in the podcast recording. I think we're just going to keep moving through.
Okay, sorry. Right.
But what we do find with phones, so bringing it back to the phone situation, is that I think we find as well that maybe back in the day, there was more of like this professional relationship where it was like, I'm an advisor or I'm a broker and this is the client, and they call in and then you sell to them. Whereas now I feel like there's a bit of a blur where like a lot of people who I work with have my mobile, we banter over WhatsApp or whatever. So I think like the relationships change, right, as well, which is maybe why the hard selling again is a bit icky, because these relationships are different.
Yeah, because it's horrible to hard sell to someone you like, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. Yeah, I think that's it. And you know, I think we only work with people we like now as well.
Yeah.
I would take on a lot of clients where I put the phone down and think, God, I wouldn't go for a pint with you, mate.
Yeah.
Where now I can't think of a single client I've had in probably the last 4 or 5 years where I've not liked and got on that emotional level with. I think we're open to getting on more of a lower emotional level with someone than we would hiding behind a big corporate corporate brand.
Yeah, and then put them into CRM, chasing,
And then they just become that name and a number in the CRM rather than being Gary, who's a developer that's trying to get a block of flats built that's stressed and all those other bits. So I think that's 100%. Are we more conscious of that? That now we're a bit older, a bit wiser, that we understand the pressures the client's under as well. Yeah. So then we don't want to chase as much. We don't want to be that guy that's constantly, over like that. But we lost a deal actually this last week, I think it was. So he was ghosting us for a bit. I was clearly going off trying to find if there was a better deal. His mum then actually rang into the office. Oh, it was just a bit different. And said, "Oh no, he's actually going to go for that." I was quite honest. Like, he's tried to get another deal. We spoke to someone else. He said that's the best. Like, there's nothing else in the market for the circumstances. He then rang me. I then tried to ring him Monday. Couldn't get through. He then tried to call me probably about 5:30, 5:45. I then didn't pick up, dropped him a text, "I'll call you in the morning." Never spoke since.
Okay.
I'd be really disappointed. Go back a few years, I'd be like, "Oh my God, I've just lost a sale." Now it's like, "Oh, cool, it just wasn't meant to happen." It's just a completely different, more chilled out environment of going, "Oh, that's fine." Tried to call his mum back, didn't answer. Called him a couple of times throughout this week, hasn't answered. Cool, well, that's us done now.
Yeah.
He might come back, I don't know. But I'd be chasing him into the next, because he wanted to go.
Yeah. Like, but back in the day, you would have chased him like weeks and weeks?
Oh, I think so, because I would have been pissed that I've missed a sale.
Yeah, and that's like you already calculated the money on the board that you're going to spend, right?
Oh, we're all that, aren't we? We all lie in bed at night and calculate the deals we haven't got. So I would have been my disappointment that I've let the team down because I didn't pick up the phone at that time, which would have got the deal over the line, which would have done it. And then, so I then would have kept chasing. Yeah. But now we're like, cool, that's fine.
Do you think it's also because there's a lot of options in the market? Maybe more options. I don't know. Again, brokering, obviously ILA, we are the only law firm in the UK that just do what we do. So whilst we have competitors in different ways, it's less competitive definitely than being a broker. Yeah. So do you think from your experience that they've got more options now, so the sale has to be
people care more, don't they?
Yeah,
I think you've got to have that personal almost connection with someone now,
which is why the hard sales are less attractive.
100%. I think it's harder. The way I sell, or I go about my advising, is by very much just being myself. What you see is what you get. Yeah. And what the client sees is what the wife sees, type thing. I'm not a different person at the office than I am at home. Yeah. So that I think helps, but then it has its hindrance, doesn't it? Yeah. Because you win some deals because of it, but then you lose some deals for it. I'm quite a loud person. A quiet person would probably get swallowed. Do you know what I mean? So in that way, I don't think they'd feel comfortable. But we understand ourselves more.
Yes, which we didn't do back in the day. I say back in the day, like I'm old. I'm not old, guys. But that was less of an understanding.
Yeah, right? We've done more work on ourselves, haven't we, to understand who we are, to then see who we connect with. Yeah. So I suppose subconsciously there's a hell of a lot gone on, actually.
There is. It's actually a really interesting topic.
5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think of the old boys, and like some of them I do still know who are still brokers. I do think they are still in the sales era thing. And when I speak to them, they do just give me the ick. Anastasia, we're going to do that. And I'm like, oh, it's a bit much.
But then they're still wearing a suit to their appointments.
Correct, exactly.
Where I'm in a pair of jeans and a polo shirt, 9 times out of 10 even a t-shirt. Yeah, I go to an appointment now with a hoodie on.
Right.
Yeah,
I hear
you. But and if the client doesn't like that, I'm going, well, cool, don't work with me then. Yeah. I'm not going, I'll change for you. Yeah. So that's then different well, isn't it? Where I would have been like, I don't know, I best listen to Radio 4 today because I'm going to a guy's house who's in their 60s. Like, how am I going to build rapport? Yeah. Like, now I'm there like, boom, this is me.
Yeah.
Don't like it? Yeah, cool. I'm happy.
Yeah.
So that's it. And you know what as well? I think the bigger thing is the knowledge in the industry. I think for us guys that have been in a bit longer, I don't think the younger generation is as good as us without being really sort of arrogant. I think that work from home, that COVID period, I think that's taken so much out of the industry. Yeah. I sat around really experienced people when I was cutting my teeth, and they told me if I was making mistakes. They told me if I was being shit. They would be like, "Mate, you sound like a right dick. Like, what are you doing? Yeah, like you twat." Yeah. And that's changed now. I couldn't do the job working from home. Training, like how do you get that? You don't get any support, you don't get any, you've been knee deep in criteria. It'd become a bit like you guys going through legal stuff. It would just be mental. Yeah. The advantage of being able to lift your head and go, I've got this problem, fucking help, is massive, isn't it? What do you do now? Go on Slack, I got this fucking problem.
No, it's different. It's so different. And no, but you're only getting a solution to the problem when you've asked the problem. So what about all the problems you didn't know about, all right? That they're not asking because they're at home, they didn't know, they didn't say that the right way.
Yeah, and do you know, we've made a business off that.
Yeah.
That's why we went self-employed, because 90% of mortgage advisors don't understand self-employed income.
Yeah.
And they don't understand the different ways you can present the income to the lender.
Yeah.
Which, I think back to my advice when I was working at big brokers. Oh, shit, actually. It was not great, but I got away with it because 90% of my customers were employed.
Yeah.
Where now loads more people are self-employed.
Right, that's also a massive rise.
Yeah, loads of people are freelancing, getting paid in contracts, getting paid, in so many different ways now that then makes a difference. So, I think that's a big thing with the knowledge. I think there's a massive knowledge gap.
Yeah, this is so interesting. So what would be your top 3 tips that you'd give to somebody as a brokerage that maybe like, okay, well, we're not doing 1,000 calls afterwards, but we've already spoken about kind of the initial sales that's going on in the background, the kind of subliminal sales, which we're not saying selling is bad. That's not true. It's the, we're talking about the old school hounding, the chasing up. So if we're trying to mix this advisory, educating people, like you've already said, you educate people on your socials while selling to them. What would be your top 3 tips then for a brokerage to take on board to sell and advise in kind of conjunction with one another?
So I think, first of all, just be yourself.
Yeah.
Don't try and be that corporate person. I don't think that works anymore. I think people see through it. Give honest advice. I think give advice, not sell. So, for example, I've got a property portfolio. I understand the bits of buy-to-let mortgages, obviously, because I do it. But I also understand being a landlord, and that's massive. So if you are in that situation, let people know. Because how many times you speak to an advisor, you think you don't even own your own house. What the hell?
Yeah.
You're giving me advice on something you don't even understand the pressures of. So, be yourself, 100, and tell your story.
Yeah.
I think that's so important because everyone's, we're not arseholes, aren't we?
No,
at the end
most
of the
people
day.
not.
No, exactly. So I think you can afford to be honest to your audience and your clients. So that'd be the best thing, just be yourself, first of all. Secondly, don't sell, give advice. I think once you change your mentality to an advice-led conversation, you'd be surprised how much knowledge you've got as an advisor, how much you can give to that person, and how much you can just make the whole journey easier. It's a stressful journey, isn't it?
Which in effect sells you anyway, because it's like, oh, look how much they know.
So
it's a different way of selling.
This is it. And don't try and solve, I think the biggest thing from when I was younger to what I am now, I'm not trying to solve every problem. So I don't know the answers to everything. So I'll be like, I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah.
Give me a day and I'll go and find out. Or do you know what? That's not me. That's not my bag. Actually.
Rather than being like, don't you worry, love, we can get that sorted for you. That old salesman. Don't you worry, I've got that covered. Said the slimy salesman.
And how many times I'd have a client on the phone and I'd be typing away doing a fact find thinking, I've got no fucking clue where this is going. Well, now I've got a good idea. Is it going to an adverse lender? Is it going to a high street lender? Is it going to a small building society? You've got an idea, haven't you? So, don't try and blag it, I suppose. But then you need to blag it. I don't want to say don't blag it.
I know what you mean. I know what you're saying. Where it's like I don't know the answer, but I will do my best to find it, and I will find it for you. Rather than I know everything, but actually I think clients see through that you maybe don't in that scenario.
That's it. And then again links back to being honest, isn't it? Because I think a client buys into that rather than just being like, oh. Yeah, you didn't sound very confident there.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. So it'd be yourself. Don't sell, advise, have advice-led conversations. And then, don't blag it. Just be a bit more, I suppose, just back to just being yourself, isn't
Transparent
it?
With what you can do, what you think's out there.
That's it.
Yeah,
100%. And I think, just to add a fourth in here, because I always like to go off piece, is look to see where you're getting your inquiries from. Because have you got time for my little story?
Yes, go on. Always time for you.
Shows, right? So I just got self-employed. I got this deal. I got a 50-50 deal with this broker. They're supplying the leads. So I go off to this house and he's building a new house. And I get to it's Camberley. I get to the driveway. I'm in this shitty Ford KA, right? Normally I dump it. Normally I dump it on a back street and walk to the appointment. I didn't realize how big the house was. So I'm driving down this drive and I'm like, fuck, it's
I'm at the house. Is this actually in the house?
So I parked this shitty KA on his like just a forecourt basically. And so I go and do the appointment. The guy's an absolute legend. Like, we're doing the deal. We're getting all the money that he needs to do all the renovations, blah, blah, blah. We come out of the house and you got the architect and the solicitor there talking to him. And there's literally a Jag and I think it was a Porsche or a Ferrari or something.
Yeah.
And then parked him. So my KA's fucking in the middle, right? So I come out of the house and look at him and think, fuck's sake, like, I'm a twat. And then they start chatting and then the kid comes over and was like, wants to know what everyone's involvement is in the thing. So the case solicitor, he's like, so we're like, what do you do? He's like, well, I'll get the legal bits done. And the architect's, well, I'm doing all the drawings. He comes to me and goes, I'm just a poor guy. I'm so self-conscious. I was just like, I'm just the poor guy. I just felt like such a twat.
You're actually a key part of it, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Obviously, you're like, without you, no one else is there.
Yeah, and to be fair to the client, because he was a good guy, he was like, to his son, he was like, without Mark, these guys don't get paid.
Nice.
And these guys don't get paid.
Good lad.
And actually dug me out of a hole.
Yeah.
But what it made me realise, I was out of my depth.
Yeah.
Because I'm not in that. So, like, I don't hang around with millionaires. Yeah. I don't hang around with people that the drive, you can't see the fucking house from the other end. And I felt really conscious. And then that made me realise, actually, where do I feel comfortable?
Yeah.
And then we work a hell of a lot with construction guys, IT contractors, but I just feel in my zone with them.
Yeah.
I feel on level with them.
Yeah.
I don't feel they're above me. I don't feel I'm below them. I don't feel that they're below me. It's just a really cool conversation.
Nice working relationship.
Because we're all on the same level. And that's the first thing I would do as an advisor. Get clients on your level. Don't chase this solicitor that's got £1 million house if you're in a fucking 2-bed terrace in whatever, in Wigan.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
I feel like Wigan's up north. Speaking up north, my geography's pretty bad. I'm a southerner. Yeah.
But do you know what I mean? Yeah. I was thinking Burnley in my mind, like a fucking war zone. But do you know what I mean? And that's my point though, is don't go out of your depth to try, there's plenty of people that have got loads of money that live in Wigan and are really cool people that have got loads of businesses that will still pay the same money, that still have, £1 million house doesn't mean £1 million mortgage. £1 million house normally means a 200 grand mortgage, which is quite average. So stop trying to chase the money and the affluent
glitz
people
and the glam. If it's not aligned to you.
No.
I really resonate with that. And again, I could talk about that for ages, which we won't do now, but I've definitely been at networking events where like I felt like I was dressed up in like my dad's outfit, which sounds weird, but like, but I mean,
so what dress does your dad wear?
But like your mum or like someone else's outfit, not my dad. Doesn't dress in dresses. Oh God, sorry, Dad. But you know what I mean? Like I felt like I was in someone else's clothes, and like because it wasn't me, and it made me really uncomfortable. And now I don't do that. I actually hang out in rooms where I feel me. And so I hear you on that. I think it's a really valuable point.
And on that as well, when you start networking, you start meeting businesses that you really, I met an accountant probably 5-6 years who really changed my attitude, because he was like, if you don't want to work with me, don't. And I was like, I've never heard that from an accountant before. And I think that's so important. And it just comes back to being yourself, doesn't it?
No, it's really helpful. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate the story. That I think many people probably can resonate with that too, and everything that Mark shared today.
It's a shit story, but
you got the point. You got the point. And so, where can people find you if they want to connect more?
So Mark Jones on LinkedIn, Instagram, it's The Mortgage Man, TikTok, it's Mortgage Man UK, but generally Jones & Young. We do loads of content out there, loads of sort of guides and stuff like that. So, and have a look at our website, jonesandyoung.co.uk.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Mark. Thank you so much, Mark, for coming on today's show. Don't forget to tune into our next episode. We'll see you soon. Mwah.